Am I wearing the shirt that I was wearing in my 2 previous videos? Yes, I am. It's called Being Lazy and Binge Filming. Look it up. It's a thing. Hi, welcome back or welcome if you're new here. I'm Fran, this is Fran Nook in the Pages, and today I have a tag for you, the spring cleaning book tag. And am I late for this tag? Maybe, but has that ever stopped me? Of course not. I saw this tag on Haley's channel, Pages in Perpetuity, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so fresh and original and nice. I think she put together more than one tag, but I took the questions from her, so I don't know about the genesis of this tag. I don't know who created it. I don't know any of that. I saw it on her channel and I took it from there, and that's all I know. But before we begin, a quick reminder to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, to like and share this video, to click on the bell icon if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video. You can follow me on social media, befriend me on Goodreads, and I have a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. You will find all this information in the description down below. The Struggle to Begin, a book you're struggling to begin because of its size. Now, shall we say the answer altogether for this question? I tried, by the way, disclaimer, I tried to pick books for these questions and prompts that I haven't talked about in a while, so that it could be fresh, it could feel new, and I'm not talking about the same books over and over again. But this question, like, let's be real, there's only one book that I can offer up in response to this, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson and the Stormlight Archive series as a whole. I mean, we're talking about a series that is not finished yet. It might count 7 books by the end of it, if not more, because we all know how unpredictable Sanderson is, and each book has more than 1,000 pages. More than 1,000 pages, and it took me 2-3 months to read a book that is 800 pages. So I'm scared, okay? That's the reality of things, but I am about to put an end to this and tackle it, because Isabel and we chose it to be the next book that we buddy read, either June or July, I'm not sure, because I've just realized that June is Pride Month and I have to read LGBT books because that's how I roll. But it's happening, and the reign of terror that this book is exercising on me is about to come to an end. Organizing the closet. How is your shelf organized? Now, I have a video on my channel with a bookshelf tour where I go through how I organize it and why. Of course, I will leave it linked up in the cards and in the description down below if you want to go and check it out. It's pretty short, but let's just say that I go by genre, and then I have some sections that reflect some specific interests of mine. For instance, I have a shelf with books that are set in New York, because I feel like books set in New York have a specific vibe, a specific feel, and I love New York as a city. I just do. I love it so much, and so I wanted to have that kind of shelf. I am about to move, though, to another house, and I don't know how I will organize my shelves. I change my mind all the time, and I am still not satisfied with my current shelves organization. So if you have any tips or advices for me, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you. Opening the windows and letting in fresh air. A light, refreshing book. I have graphic novels for this prompt. I decided to go with the Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill, and that is because this book is just adorable and light and breezy and just the cutest thing ever, and even the colors remind me of spring. And it is basically about this society of creatures that live with dragons, and these dragons grow tea leaves that then they use to brew tea, and it's so diverse and inclusive and sweet and colorful, and I just love it. And I think there are 3 books in this series currently. I don't know if there is going to be a 4th one, but I sure hope so. And the other one is another graphic novel that I found very light and nice and cute, and is very underrated because I haven't really seen it pretty much anywhere, and that is Bloom by Kevin Panetta. And this is about a teenager, a guy who works in the family's bakery, but he doesn't really want to be a baker. He doesn't like to bake bread and all that stuff. He's trying to look for something beyond that. And then there is a new guy who moves to town, and he wants to be a baker, and so he finds a job at this bakery because they were looking for an apprentice to take the other guy's place, basically. And the two might fall in love. Maybe, who knows? It was the cutest thing. There's food involved. The illustrations are like on a white and blue palette kind of situation, and they look so cute and adorable, and it's gay and it's cute, and I loved it, and it's so light and fresh, and you cannot not fall in love with it. It's the cutest thing ever. Clean out the kitchen cupboards. Favorite food related book. I didn't want to repeat myself for this one, but I honestly have no other books that I can think about. The only book that I can think about for this one is Relish, because even though I love the idea of food related books, and I do have a collection of them that I have yet to start reading actually, I haven't read many so far, and so the only thing I could think of was Relish by Lucy Knisley. I forgot to pick it. It's on my bookshelf. It's staring at me, but I forgot to pick it and I'm lazy to get up. But I'll put the image on the screen, of course, and I've talked about this book previously many times, so I am sure that if you have watched previous videos of mine, you will have seen this book in the flesh, because I've probably showed it to you. Actually, wait, I swear this was not rehearsed. I just literally thought of another book that contains food, and it was a book that I loved, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I can't believe I had forgotten about this. This is about a 17-year-old girl called Imani. She lives with her grandma, who has always taken care of her, and she has a 2-year-old daughter because she got pregnant in high school. She also wants to be a chef, and Imani has this talent of creating these beautiful, incredible, delicious dishes that reflect her Puerto Rican heritage, but at the same time there's something new that she adds to make them unique. And I just remember the descriptions of the smells and the colors and the taste, and the fact that she tries to put emotions and feelings and memories into food, and it was just beautiful. It's one of those quiet stories where there are no high stakes, nothing bad is going on. It is quiet and nice, but at the same time there are so many deeper undertones with her heritage and the father who kind of left her to be on her own with the grandma, and she's a mom, so teenage motherhood that is not easy, and the fact that she doesn't have enough money to take care of her daughter without having to work, without having to worry about having also the option of a practical job to give money to her family when needed, so they're struggling a bit. I mean, there's a lot going on, but at the same time it was very quiet and simple and easy, and I just loved it. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent there, but it was so good, and I can't believe I forgot about it. Washing the Sheets, a book with a scene you wish you could rewrite. Now, I couldn't come up with a specific scene, so instead I chose a book where I liked the idea behind it, but I didn't like the execution. And so it's like I wish the whole book could be rewritten, because the premise was good, but then the rest I found lacking, and that is Under the Rainbow by Celia Laskey. And this is basically about a small town that has ranked as the worst homophobic town in the US, and there is a group of LGBT volunteers, allies, and all of that who move to this town in order to talk to the people, to create engagement, and try to reduce the homophobic index, I want to say. Premise is really interesting, but the execution was just terrible. I couldn't care about any of the characters. There were many stereotypes along the way, and also there was a scene of gay sex, if I remember correctly, that almost borders on fetishism, and the author is a woman. So the whole thing makes me think a bit like icky and uncomfortable about the whole thing. But I don't know. It was just, I didn't like the execution, I didn't like the book, so that's on that. Throwing out the unnecessary knickknacks, a book in a series you thought was unnecessary. Again, I really tried to think hard here about a book that I could pick, but since I have this issue where I start a series, I read the first book and then I don't continue, I haven't read many second and third books in a series, not enough to answer to this question with a different answer than the one that I'm about to give you. And that answer, you might guess, is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I really disliked this third installment in the series, and I had absolutely loved like crazy the first two. This one I thought completely went in another direction when it came to character development, parents, and overall adults being involved in the story, which is something that I had liked in the previous books because we're talking about teenagers and murders here, so it's kind of normal that adults are involved as well. It's a bit more realistic. There were just some choices that I didn't quite understand and I couldn't really condone. I've talked about this in my worst books of 2021, I think. I will leave the video linked so you can go and check it out if you want, but long story short, it was a disappointing installment and I wish it hadn't been there. Because yes, there were some things that needed an answer, some threads left from the first and second book, but this third one, no. Reaching to Dust the Fan, a book that tried too hard to relay a certain message. First, I couldn't think of any books for this prompt, and then I came up with two, and so I'm going to use both of them. First one is a book that I read years ago, like 2-3 years ago, maybe more, and it is Every Day by David Levithan. This is another one where I kind of liked the idea, the premise, but I didn't like the execution. The main character is a soul that I think is called A, and they wake up in a different body every day. Every day they wake up in a different body, whether it's a girl, a boy, maybe even adults or just teenagers. I don't remember that precisely, but it's either boy or girl. So I think it's kind of a metaphor for gender fluid, for being gender fluid. And that was very nice and very interesting because we're talking about a book that came out in 2000, I don't know, 2004, 5, 3, something like that, at the beginning of the 2000 decade. And it was for a young adult audience, so I feel like it was very bold and revolutionary. Like, it was a very nice thing to do. But then there are points in the book where I feel like this message, this identity was too forced, as in imposed on others, because this soul falls in love with a girl. And as the story develops and the girl and the soul kind of get to know each other a bit better, for the girl it's harder and harder to come to terms with the fact that this soul keeps changing bodies. And this girl is attracted to boys, so she has a hard time being closer to the soul, for instance, when they are in a female body. And that's okay. Like, not everyone is queer, and the soul is upset about that. And they are like, no, I'm still me, so you have to love me for me. It doesn't matter the body in which I'm in. And yes, that is a very nice idea and everything, but you cannot impose your being and your sexual identity on someone else. There are people who are attracted to the opposite sex, and that's fine. I can't believe that I'm defending straight people here. But each individual has the right to choose who to be, who to like. There was also some fat shaming in the book, but let's not go there. I know that this book was adapted into a movie, and I'm really curious actually to watch the movie. I've never watched it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I would love to watch it to see how all of that was handled, because the movie was far more recent than the book, so they might have twisted a few things here and there to make that issue go away or treat it in some other way. But in the book, it came across as I am judging you for not being gender fluid like I am, and that is not cool. And the last prompt is Polishing Doorknobs, a book that had a clean finish. And for this one, I think the perfect answer is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I read this book in March and I have yet to film my March wrap-up, so I haven't talked about this book yet. Let me tell you, this was such an impressive book. It is so long and complicated. The shortest thing that I can tell you about it is that this is about two siblings who are a bit estranged. They haven't been talking for years, and they come together when their mother passes away, and she has left them a video cassette tape in which she tells them about a secret regarding their family. And in order for them to understand this secret and all that entails, she has to tell them the story of their family, about her life as a child in the Caribbean in the 1930s, 1940s, something like that. And then there are other characters involved, so many characters, and we follow more than two storylines. And then by the end of this book, everything is perfectly wrapped up. We have no questions left. Everything has its answer, and we know everything. I thought that was such an incredible task to undertake, because there's really so much going on and so many characters, and the author was able to wrap everything up perfectly. And I was mind blown, and I loved this book so much, and it felt like an odyssey who came to an end, and I was speechless. This is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you haven't but you would like to, and also feel free to answer to the prompts of this tag in the comments down below, because I would love to know your answer. But I am going to tag some people whose answers I'd be really interested in hearing. I am going to tag, of course, Virginia at Virginia Wolf, because I love her videos and she needs to make more, so there you go. I'm going to tag Olive at A Book Olive, because I think that she would really have a jolly time finding the books for these prompts, and I'm curious. I'm going to tag Olivia at Olivia's Catastrophe, Sunny at A Sunny Book Nook, and last but not least, Kari at Kari Can Read. Am I reaching to high? Maybe I am, but I don't care. I aim for the stars. And this is it. Thank you again so much for watching. I will see you very soon with another video, but until then, have a good one, take care, and keep reading. Warm hugs. Bye!